Hey guys, Bird Brothers, episode 12, continuing on into the double digits. Once a week, we get together to talk football. Two brothers from Ohio, lifelong Eagles fans. Started out watching in the beginning of the Andy Reid era. So lots of tears shedded over the years. Today, we're going to talk about a couple different things. We're shooting for about 30 minutes here. 53-man roster, our thoughts, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, our excitement, Jalen Reagor trade. One more thing I had here, Trey Sermon. So obviously we're in Ohio State fans, so we know who Trey Sermon is. I'm excited about that. Ryan, let's start with you, man. Before we get into this, guys, too, please, we're trying to grow this channel. Please like, subscribe, leave us some feedback. Let us know what we can do better. We're excited about doing this. So, Ryan, let's start with your thoughts. 53-man roster. Yeah. Surprises, thoughts, takeaways.
Biggest thing for me was we talked about Carson Strong not getting opportunities for whatever reason. And you see him, Reed Sinnett gets a ton of snaps. And then 53 rosters, were cut down and Reed Sinnett gets cut. And then he's on the practice squad now. But then we go out and claim Ian Book. And as of now, I just looked like 10 minutes ago, Ian Book's our third quarterback on our depth chart. So he's on our active roster, which I'm not complaining about. I like the idea. I saw we took a shot at Kellen Mond as well. That would have been a guy I would like to have. For one, just as like maybe a developmental guy over the years, but also for use him when you're going against, to practice, going against, guys that are a little more mobile, things like that. But overall, it went outside of, the Chauncey trade. It went about as I expected. There were a few guys that were surprises. We had 3 undrafted free agents sign, which is always good. It means, Howie hit on a couple of those guys. It's good to see Josh Jobe, guy we talked about, make the team. High character, high quality guy from Bama. But no, I think I talk about this all the time. I talk with some guys at work. I think we're very loaded. And he asked me if all the hype, around the Eagles is worrying me, and I don't buy into the hype as much. My concern's always been the same thing: is Jalen Hurts the guy? And the more we build our team, the more we can, we don't need him to be the guy. He just has to, play middle of the road, I think, and not turn the ball over. And we have a good enough team to kind of carry that. But real happy with how we kind of shored up every weakness, man. And even getting Anthony Harris back. We got Anthony Harris back on the practice squad.
Yeah, we did.
Which a big surprise there. No, man, I'm real happy. A very solid team, good depth. I'm thinking LaRaven Clark will probably be brought up from practice squad if he hasn't already, with the Dillard injury. But luckily it's just a forearm fracture, so he'll still see majority of the season. And like I said, we have depth. It's one thing we have is depth at both sides. Both sides of the trenches. But I'm very, very happy with the depth and overall how he's done. This offseason's been probably the best we've ever seen. I would say that's pretty easy to say. And we can get into the pick trades and all these things later, but he's been masterful, I think, trading some of these players for. I thought Reagor would just be gone. We would just cut him. He'd be a cap casualty. Like, sorry, we're not going to keep you. Like, so the fact that he pulled that is pretty incredible. But what are your thoughts? What are your takeaways? Any big surprises for you?
Well, yeah, first thing I want to say, man, that sounds like it might be a thumbnail title, like Howie has been masterful. I think that's the only way to describe it. A lot of guys give him crap. But
I was calling for his head like 3 years ago, right before the Super Bowl. I was calling for Howie's head. Sure. I was just, as a lot of people were, and they talk about that. He's gotten better. He's improved every year. He's like, it's like he's, like anyone does in a job, but.
Well, not anybody. A lot of people don't. A lot of people don't change. A lot of people don't adjust. One thing I like is I like Jeffrey Lurie, and anytime you're a billionaire in business and in, like, dude, you got to become a phenomenal human being to build that kind of wealth and to manage all that and to delegate all that. And he seems to do a very good job of hiring people, coaches. I believe in Jeff Lurie's ability to hire people. And there's a reason he's kept Howie around. He got rid of Chip quick. I was surprised by the Doug thing. Maybe Doug got complacent. Maybe Doug got complacent because we only won 4 games that year. I don't know. That's whatever. But so to stay on topic though, 53-man roster. Yeah, I was disappointed. I wanted to see more Carson Strong. I thought we had a really good opportunity to find like a third string developmental guy with a lot of upside. Guys say some said he was the best pure passer from the draft. And then I heard Sirianni say Reed Sinnett just outperformed him. So Carson didn't get opportunities and now he's cut. Surprised me. Maybe it's more of a knee thing too. Maybe he just really is so terribly not mobile. I don't know. So that did surprise me. But the UDFAs, the undrafted free agents, Eagles do, I would say, a really good job. I was going to say exceptional, but I'd say they do a really good job of finding value there. And if you go back, I mean, these guys, UDFAs, Corey Clement has played a role. Nate Herbig played a role. I signed him when he was 20 years old. He comes into the offensive line and plays guard, center, both guard positions. He was very valuable to us. And there's some other guys I'm forgetting. And then if you just think about Jalen Mills in the 7th round, Jordan Mailata in the 7th round, we've done some good things there. So Josh Jobe, this is what I did this morning. I went back and looked at my Dane Brugler, the Beast draft guide, and I opened it up. I said, man, where was Jobe ranked? They had him as a 3rd or 4th rounder, I think. Maybe it was 4th or 5th. And what's interesting about him is his 2000. He played hurt in 2021. He was bothered by turf toe. He toughed through it. He played kind of hurt. He didn't run the 40, I think, for that reason. His 2021 or his 2020 tape as a junior, people expected him to be like a higher pick. Like they said, I think the scouting guide said top 100 player. So top 3 rounds, we get the guy freaking undrafted with Nick Saban mentality coaching, coached by Nick Saban, dude. Mentality is so much of this. So last thing I'll mention, I'll give it right back to you. Josh Sills was probably the biggest surprise. He made the 53-man roster. He's a guard who's built like Landon Dickerson. This guy's 6'6", 325. You know where he's from, dude? He's from southeastern Ohio, Guernsey County, right over by like Zanesville, Muskingum County. My freshman year, I went to Muskingum College. Like, that's where he's from. Meadowbrook High School. I thought that was pretty cool. And they say like the scouting report on him says he's just like violent on the field, and he's the kind of guy you want on your team or on your side in a bar fight. So I thought that was cool.
Yeah, heard that before, man.
And Reed Blankenship, I think it's cool, man. Howie Roseman made a comment that he kind of reminds him of Quentin Michael or Quentin Michael, however you want to pronounce it, the old safety from the Eagles. That's an unusual thing for Howie to say. Usually they play it safe. They say, well, we like him. He's a good kid, hard worker, got some potential, got some good tools in his body. But he said he compared him to a guy who started for the Eagles, worked his way up to the ranks. So that would be my thoughts on the 53. You want to talk about the probably the thing I've been most excited about is the Chauncey Gardner-Johnson acquisition.
Yeah.
What were your initial reactions?
Initially they didn't release what we gave up, so I was a little concerned of that. I didn't want to. I feel like it's easy, and Howie does a good job of this, where maybe a GM or the owner thinks, hey, we're really close, we're really close and we have these picks here. Let's just throw a bunch out there and, just grab a stud, grab some guy that's going to shore up our, secondary or whatever weakness you have. And I was a little worried about that before they released what we had. Turns out, we stole him from the Saints. I don't know if the Saints just maybe their GM owes Jeffrey Lurie money. I don't know what, but I literally wrote these down because it's incredible what we've done to the Saints in less than a year. Like the picks we got. So we traded 16, 19, and a 6th round in the draft. We got 18, a 3rd, and a 7th back that year, this past draft, a 1st next year, and a 2nd the year after that. And then we ended up obviously.
Say that again for the
So
you're talking about you're talking about the trade, how we maneuvered in the draft, right?
The first one we made with the Saints. So we traded pick 16 and pick 19 for pick 18, a 3rd round pick, which is 101, a 7th round pick, which is 237, and we got their 1st next year, and we got a 2nd the year after that.
And we traded 2 picks and we got 5. And 3 of those 5 are in the first 2 rounds.
Correct. And then we still got our guy we wanted, and that's kind of the beauty of how he moves around. It reminds me a lot, like this is a little out of proportion, but like what we did this offseason, like we talked about, is Madden. You mentioned like this is what people do on Madden franchises. Like you trade away, okay, I'm going to trade this 1st and this 3rd and this 2nd and this player, and I'm going to get this, but then I'm going to trade that for this. And it literally reminds me of the movie Draft Day as well, where he trades everything out and then he convinces everyone else that the guy they wanted that they traded up for is, probably going to be a bust, and, got his pick back plus more. So the Chauncey trade, to get back to your question, we got Gardner-Johnson and a 7th 2 years from now. And we gave up a 5th and a 5th this year and a 6th next year. I don't understand what they're doing. I'm hearing that is
a 5th and a 7th, right? We gave him a 5th and a 7th, or was it a 5th and 6th?
Our 5th and we gave him a 5th this coming year and a 6th the following year. We got a 7th back in 2025, so 2 years from now, and obviously Gardner-Johnson. So it's just I'm guessing they said it was because they have depth and they don't need him, which is just BS. That's to try to make you feel better about getting fleeced, but it's in reality, I think it was just a cap dump. Their cap situation is pretty bad, which is sad because they don't have. They have Jameis Winston. They don't have their franchise quarterback. Michael Thomas is just, I don't know, collecting checks and not playing. He's back now, but I just saw he had a hamstring injury a couple of days ago. So horrible cap situation. So that's my guess, is just cap dump. Because they said that, we just have a lot of depth in our secondary at safety, but they didn't play him at safety. They played him at nickel corner for like 88% of the snaps last year. So if you go look at their team now, they have a great defense, but I think it's just a cap casualty. And for Howie to recognize that and get him for basically nothing, for next to nothing, is and still on a rookie deal. So we're paying him like $2.3 million. And the best part is, if you don't want to extend him right now, we don't really have to. He said he never told the Saints he wasn't going to play. He said he wanted a negotiation contract for his extension to start, but he didn't hold out anything like that. So it seems to me that he's happy to play under this year, his final year, but he wants to talk extension. So essentially we could let him play. And if he say he doesn't pan out for whatever reason, he doesn't look great, we just, cut our losses and we're out a 5th, 6th round pick. And we got a 7th to kind of lessen the blow. But I think he's going to play well in this system. He's kind of all over the field. He's very versatile. And he gives us depth at corner because he can play corner.
Do you think do you think there's any chance the Eagles, and I don't think so, but do you think there's any chance that they don't re-sign him? They only trade for a guy like this, I think. Yeah.
No, I for sure re-sign him.
You think about
have to play dreadful to not get signed. He's 23, I think. like I said, on a rookie deal, played phenomenal last year, very versatile, and he fits the scheme. And I think I think we'll see a lot of I'm hoping for a lot of 3 tight end sets. Or if we incorporate Nakobe Dean, I'd like to see. I even saw a thing about Tony Jefferson. He actually just signed with the Giants. He was released by the Ravens, but in the box guy, and then kind of let Chauncey, roam. But I'd like to see that. Maybe Kayvon Wallace, if he can get healthy, and run like a 3 tight end set and let Chauncey kind of just float around. I like his versatility, man. He can cover tight ends, kind of do a lot. He's a dog. I saw this stat. He caused 14 personal foul penalties last year from just jawing at people. And a receiver will throw the ball at him, and then it's an automatic 15-yard. Like he's an instigator, which you hate if he's not on your team, but you love if he's on your team.
Yeah.
So
he's got some Jalen Ramsey like trash talk, and he gets. And you're right. I told Kiara that. I showed Kiara his interview, one of his interviews. My wife was Kiara. She's like, "Oh, he's one of those guys." And I said, "Hey, if he's on your team, you love him. If he's not, you hate him. And he's on our team, baby."
Yeah.
I watched this interview. The media's in his locker room, and he's just like, he's playing great, and I love guys like this. He's pissed. He's like, "I get no respect." He's like, "I'm the best nickel in the league." No respect. Like, he's mad. He's got a chip on his shoulder. Fit into the culture amazingly. Gonna bring so much, dude. Anything. I think this is one of the reasons why the Eagles love Jalen Hurts so much. I think this is one of the reasons why they drafted Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts, and I'm talking about Chauncey still, but Jalen Hurts believes so big. There's so much power in somebody who just believes in themselves.
Right.
Nobody told this guy he wasn't supposed to be good. He never thought that. He just thought he was the man. He thinks he's the man. He believes he's the man. He believes he's the best nickel in the league. He believes he's going to tear your head off. There's so much power in that, man. And I remember Jalen Hurts had a game. He came back against Baylor. Huge deficit. And they talked to Jalen after the game, and all he talked about was belief. He said, "We just believed. Nobody stopped believing. Everybody believed we were going to win the game." And that's it's not tangible. A lot of people don't, grasp that, but that's a real thing in leadership. Yeah. And Chauncey is going to bring that confidence and raise that belief, raise that intensity, man. So what all do you see him doing in the defense? Because I can see so many things with what they can do, man, with him.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're going to see. I think it brings in the idea of a single high safety as well, which isn't really I know Gannon kind of plays a more conservative, sit back and, give them underneath things. But I mean, I think we could run a single high safety, and either bring, pass rushers. Go ahead.
That would be Epps playing deep safety and Garner in the slots.
It depends. I mean, because if we play Bradbury, Slay, and Maddox, unless they're running like some crazy 5 wide, like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't think we're going to need. What's that?
If they're running 4 wide receivers.
Right. Yeah. I mean, yes and no, because I think I think Kaiser White is going to be capable. And if Nakobe Dean does get, as many snaps as we want, I think we have capability to cover those guys. But I like Epps. I think he can play. I would like to see that, but I also like you said, we could run anyone at the single high safety. I would assume probably be Epps. But I also think like it brings in more versatility for Nakobe Dean to get snaps. And I really think it's majorities of it's going to be safety. He played nickel last year. Obviously, I think Avonte Maddox is a very underrated nickel. In my opinion, he's one of the better nickels in the league when he's allowed to do that. Yeah.
You think he's allowed to play? You think Chauncey's a better nickel than Maddox?
I don't know. That's tough. I think Maddox got a lot of heat, but people forget he wasn't playing in the nickel. Like you're asking a 5 foot, and he did well. He held his own. There were so many plays where he was in a guy's face, great coverage. He's just a little undersized. He's got short arms. He's 5'9", not real heavy, but I like he's got good recovery speed and stuff. But your recovery speed and things can only get you so far if the guy that you're recovering is 6'3".
Yeah.
It's no different. You might be the same top speed, but this guy's gonna, he's got bigger strides. So it brings a ton of versatility, man. I would love to see the single high safety. And like I said earlier, I'd love to see, maybe bring in like a third safety or play a third. I think that Nakobe Dean could play that position. Not technically safety, but play in the box, consider it like a safety. I want athleticism on the field. I just want because we know the NFL is going that direction where you have to be fast. The thumper linebackers are they're going away. They don't exist anymore. So bringing in a guy that can play safety, nickel, he can cover tight ends, he's scrappy. It gives us a ton of versatility to bring pressure. And we could run, a single high or, just have him kind of shadow someone. But like I said, he plays conservative as Gannon does. So it's going to be, I think it might be a little frustrating at first because we're going to want to see more aggression. When you have corners that can cover, bring pressure. Like I want pressure on the quarterback because I have faith in my corners. I don't want to sit back and let them pick apart, and dink and dunk us the whole game when we have athleticism. We have guys that can do it. But I don't know. I think it's going to be he'll be playing safety a lot alongside Epps. But I'd like to see him down in the box, run like dime packages and things like that. But like I said, I would bet that it's probably going to be a little more conservative. But yeah, I don't know. That would be my opinion.
Yeah, so I know you gotta kind of ease him in. Like, well, they're not trying to ease him in, but there's going to be things he's got to learn and get adapted to the defense and probably learn some new terminology. But, when he's acclimated, man, the guy can play man to man in the slot. He's blitzed pretty well in his highlights. He looks like he can blitz, and that's not just. I mean, you got to time it. You also got to be aggressive. I see him in his blitzes take on running backs and like hit them, chuck them and hit offensive linemen hard. Like he doesn't avoid the contact or just like stop. I was watching some breakdown on him on Breaking the Birds. Shout out to their channel. If you like to watch like the game be broke down, I think that's a really good channel to check out. He was showing Gardner-Johnson highlights and like just so physical. And he's not just we're not talking about Rudy from Notre Dame. This isn't a guy that's like got heart, but he's not talented.
Right.
He ran a 4.4 as a safety. He is a top 10 nickel in the league, top 5 maybe. He's a really good player. So versatile. I am a little bit concerned because we haven't seen him play safety at the NFL level. But that aside, man, my overall perspective is like, I don't even care like if we have to bring up Anthony Harris, if we got to play Epps and Harris at safety, and we just have this additional guy playing.
Yeah.
Cover guys are so essential. And Bradbury is on a 1-year deal. And Slay's 30. And so it's just really good in a lot of ways. But I can see this guy blitzing, playing nickel, playing safety, playing some type. I think he's going to be better in the run game than people expect. I'm not saying he's Malcolm Jenkins. Malcolm was a very good player, but he might be more – I think he's more gifted athletically than Malcolm Jenkins.
Yeah.
As far as agility, speed. So we'll see. But for what we gave up, man, this is my thing.
Oh, yeah, it's a steal.
It's a steal. This is my thing about what I wonder about, though. Like, Saints, he wasn't getting a contract done right now. He didn't have a problem with that. Like, I don't know what the urgency was for the Saints to get rid of him. But what I think is, man, did Howie just have a beat on this? Is it Howie just has great relationships with these GMs, and so he's one of the first ones they tell? Do these GMs like Howie? and they reach out to him and say,
Right.
hey, man, we got a situation. Because why didn't anybody else get involved, or were there other teams involved, and was nobody willing to give up a fifth and a sixth? Like over the next
Right.
2 drafts, a fifth and a sixth round pick for this guy who's a cover guy, who nickel is a more and more like, like important position. So
Yeah.
I am assuming there weren't a lot of teams involved in this. So I just wonder, like, how's Howie have a beat on that?
Right.
Really excited about
I
him.
mean,
Love his attitude.
yeah, I honestly, from everything I read, I think it was just a cap casualty. They didn't want to pay his cap hit. I think they were struggling to get their cap down as much as they could. So I think they just dumped him because they do have depth at that position. They have depth, in their secondary. So I think that was just it. They picked a guy that they thought they could lose. They'd take less of a hit, as far as playing ability, which is crazy, but we will take it, man. It's a steal of, even if, like they talked about, they said his value for 1 year, even if we hypothetically only had him 1 year, what we gave up is worth having him for 1 season.
If you think you're a
And
contender, yeah.
they're like, I think we'll definitely sign him. We'll sign him to an extension. But yeah,
Think of some of the dangerous offenses, and they say that the NFL is a matchup game. Think about how we can match up, bro. I mean, we got Avonte Maddox, who like ran a super ridiculous 3-cone coming out of college. He's so quick and agile. It's unbelievable. I think he's done the fastest 3-cone I've ever seen that I remember looking up on a player. Gardner-Johnson is like 210. He's 200 pounds, 215, like very physical, runs well, uber confident, talks trash. How many penalties did he have? Was this last year he had 8, or was that in his career?
Yeah, I think it was last year, but it could have been over his career in the NFL. But it was 14 personal fouls where he like instigated.
So that's 15 yards.
Yeah.
So 14 times 15. I'm not a 14 times 15 kind of math guy, but like it's a lot. It's like and it sets the offense back, and it kills drives, man.
How many of those do you see where it's it's 3rd and 4 and they get a first down, but there was a personal foul or something at the end, and okay, now we're looking at 3rd and and then they just do a draw to just, all right, we'll settle and punt.
How many times have we been on the other end with Derek Barnett and pissed? Well, now we're going to get some of those back. They brought Gardner-Johnson in to balance the Derek Barnett.
Decided to keep Derek Barnett, get someone to offset the penalties.
And I'm excited about Derek Barnett as a freaking 7th, 8th rusher. Yeah, we got some depth. Let's talk about the Rager trade. Rager trade, Trey Sermon. Those are the next 2 big points. I do want to throw in, you mentioned Ian Book earlier. I'm not a big fan of him. He's definitely a career backup, obviously. But he was a 4th round pick. I mean, that's pretty good. Teams valued him.
Yeah.
What did you think about the Rager trade?
I mean, I was happy with it. I expected us to kind of just cut Rager, cut our losses, whether it be this year or next. I kind of just thought he would float on our team for a little bit and maybe get traded halfway through the year at best. But the value we got for Jalen Rager. So I don't know if you can look this up right now. I saw someone compare this the other day. I don't know if you remember off the top of your head. What did the Cowboys trade Amari Cooper for?
Yeah, this was very evident. So this came from Brandon Lee Galton at Bleeding Green Nation. What the Cowboys got, this is to provide Eagles fans with perspective, what the Cowboys got when they traded Amari Cooper and what the Eagles were able to get trading Jalen Rager. So the Cowboys traded Amari Cooper, and they received in return a 2022 5th round pick, and then they swapped 2022 6th-round picks with the Browns.
Okay. So
what the Eagles got for Rager was a 7th-round pick and then a
this year
2024 4th-round pick that could become a 5th-round pick if Rager doesn't play well.
Yeah. So it's based off statistics. So he has to hit a certain plateau of statistics to make it to keep it as a 4th. So at worst, the 5th.
Side note, this might just be really good marketing by Howie, because I've never heard of a pick like this, like a pick dropping from 4 to 5. Essentially, we got a 5th-round pick. We got a 5th and a 7th, and the 5th could become a 4th if Rager plays up to par.
Right.
So it makes it look a little bit better, which is interesting, though. I mean,
we've seen what Amari Cooper can do. Amari Cooper has proven that he can play in the NFL. I don't expect him to have a phenomenal year in Cleveland, just because I think Cleveland decided that they liked how they ran their franchise before, so they're just going to run it back into the ground.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. It's literally almost the same exact value. We traded damn near the same value or same player or same value for a player who hasn't done anything in the NFL. I mean, I think he had like 37 catches on like 58 targets or something like that. Something crazy his rookie year. And now they're saying, and he might, if there's anywhere he can play well, that's one of the teams I would say, where he can go. He doesn't have to be, there's no pressure on him to come in and be the the 1st-round pick. He's going to be the 3rd. Right now, he's listed as the 4th wide receiver. I would assume he can probably beat out KJ Osborne if he stays healthy and, plays like we thought he would.
Got a quarterback, high volume, throws the ball all the time.
Yeah, a guy we've talked about. Kirk Cousins is underrated. A lot of people don't like him. They give him, crap for whatever reason. But we've talked about it in fantasy football. He's like a top 12 to 13, 14 quarterback every single year. You know what you're getting with him. He's high volume and he's going to complete a lot of passes. And he's going to throw 30 to 40 touchdowns. So, yeah, that's a good spot for him to go, and an offense that's probably going to just get even more of an uptick, in passing. So, I love the trade. I thought, at best we would get, a 6th round or, a 7th rounder just because people aren't going to take the chance on him because we haven't seen anything really. But, another win, I think. Obviously, it's not a win if you look at it because we spent a 1st-round pick on him, and it just didn't pan out. So it's not a win, but for the scenario you're in, it's a win compared to, cutting him and getting nothing. And it's just more things to throw next year. If say, it goes back to the trade with the Saints during the draft as well. We have draft capital next year. So if Jalen Hurts comes out and doesn't perform up to par, we can go get a veteran quarterback, or if we love a quarterback, CJ Stroud potentially, talking about Ohio State being from Ohio. Yeah, I mean, I love the pick. It's more ammunition to go after a quarterback next year if Hurts doesn't pan out.
Yeah. So you mentioned it a little bit, but I want to point something out to Eagles fans, and this goes back to Howie being absolutely masterful. And it is like Madden when you make trades because the computer is just not that smart, and you can kind of outsmart it and tinker it, and you can trade anybody for a 7th-round pick on Madden,
Yeah.
But what's interesting, so I don't know all the stuff. I don't have all the notes, but we sent Arcega-Whiteside to the Seahawks for some kind of for Amari, for the DB Amari. We sent Amari off. We sent Amari off and we got like a 6th or 7th back. Was it a 7th?
I think it was a 7th.
Okay. So we took a player who was a complete. Now, obviously, they drafted him. I understand that. They didn't work out, whatever. They also didn't use Whiteside correctly. I think Whiteside's probably a little soft, but I also don't think they used him correctly. I never saw
Right.
jump balls to the guy ever, and that's all he did in college. But we took a player who was nothing, not going to make this team, got a DB prospect who was coveted by somebody else. We were able to trade this guy for a 6th or 7th. And then out of that draft capital is then used, part of it is used to get Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, who's a disgruntled Saint. The Saints are in a tough spot. So Howie's got his eyes on like 5 things. Seattle might want to take a Whiteside. We can get a Mahdi. This team wants a Mahdi. And he's taking nothing. It's like cooking the most delicious meal out of complete scratch. Arthega-Whiteside and Rager. And it became Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. We parted with a 5th and a 6th to get Gardner-Johnson. We ship off Rager, who is nothing right now for the Eagles. I hope he succeeds in Minnesota. I wish him the best. He's still a phenomenal athlete, they say. He's got immense talent, but he hasn't put it together. Hope he does in Minnesota. We ship him out for a 5th and a 7th. The 5th can become a 4th. Guys, we sent off a 5th and a 6th for Gardner-Johnson. Then we traded Rager and got a 5th and a 7th. And the 5th can become a 4th. They literally cancel each other out.
Yeah.
We gave away a 5 and a 6. We got back potentially a 4 and a 7. So we got Gardner-Johnson for free. We gave away Rager for Gardner-Johnson. That's crazy. A guy who's going to be a 5th wide receiver and can't do anything in our offense, and we get a legitimate starter who's going to be signed to a contract extension. That's masterful.
I saw a pretty funny like meme type thing where it says Howie Roseman is has the ultimate or the final laugh and his ultimate evil self, sending Arcega-Whiteside to Seattle, where he was drafted above DK Metcalf and all stuff. Then sending Jalen Rager to the Vikings, where he was drafted above Justin Jefferson. It's like now they're literally playing with each other, and that's all the hype around that stuff, but just worked out that way. I don't think that was his master plan. But no, I mean, like you said, I think we just move stuff around, and you essentially, outside of it's obviously, if you look at you would like to hit on your draft picks, but no one hits on all their draft picks. That's just how it is. And we haven't had luck with receivers. So instead of, trying their hand again, they just went out and got, traded for a guy that, we've seen can play.
Who was a second pick.
Right. And I love what we're doing. We're just moving chips around. It's almost like smoke and mirrors, and we're getting what we want for nothing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm real happy with the way our team's formed. Crazy, wild off season. It's been exciting to watch. And we're not just a team. Like a lot of times you see guys kind of build a team and it's like that top layer, like, wow, that's really great. But then you see depth and you're like, they don't have a lot of depth. And then you see one guy get injured, another guy get injured, then your team's, nothing. And we have a ton of depth in a lot of positions. And adding Gardner-Johnson is just that was one of my, obviously, safety and corner were my 2 big. Corner, I love our corners, but we didn't have a lot of depth on guys that I was like, I'd feel confident him coming in. And now he brings that to both sides, to safety and corner. So yeah, really happy with what he's done so far.
Me too, buddy. So let's talk about the last thing here. I think that Trey Sermon is an astounding pickup. Again, the Saints loaded in the defensive backfield. We got Gardner-Johnson. The Niners are loaded in the backfield. They had some undrafted guy, Mason, that they liked. They had Elijah Mitchell. They run that zone blocking scheme where a lot of running backs can succeed there. I'm surprised. I did hear one thing. I like John McMullen said that Kyle Shanahan is very good schematically. He's like a genius schematically. Very good coach schematically. You see how he uses Deebo Samuel. But as far as players and dealing with personalities and human beings, he's kind of a coach that can sour on a player quickly. And if you and you see, this is the difference, guys. This is why we need to appreciate Howie. Look how the freaking 49ers can't get anything for Jimmy G, and they have to redo his contract and bring him back as a backup. You know why?
Right.
Because they told everybody, we're done with this guy. They threw him under the bus. Well, why would anybody trade you anything? What did the Eagles say about Jalen Reagor? He's had the best camp of his entire life. Kid's only 23 years old. He's figuring it out, busting his butt. They didn't give any indication that they're cutting him.
If you're trying to sell your car, you don't go around posting videos of it overheating again, getting ready to sell it Friday.
Check out this piece of shit, man.
Won't get you anywhere, but yeah, I'm gonna sell it to you.
We're done with it. Right. We hate this car. Hey, you want to pay top dollar for it?
Right. It's just, it seems very simple. You would think that, like, talk up all your players. I mean, it's the same tip. Like, what do you think of this guy? Does he have a shot? Oh, yeah, he's great. Had a great camp, great character guy. Like, it's the same speech you give for everybody.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
Some guys can't do that, I guess.
Well, it's the same as Trey Sermon. Why could you not trade Trey Sermon for anything?
A third-round pick. He was the 88th player in the draft.
He had 41 carries, 167 yards, averaging 4.1 yards a carry. And you can't trade him for anything. We got him for nothing.
What do you like about him? What do you like about him?
I mean, I like I've seen that people they compared him, not him, but his role is going to be to Jordan Howard. I know you're big on Jordan Howard. I don't think honestly, I have zero faith in Miles Sanders' ability to stay healthy for obvious reasons. That's why I don't touch him in fantasy football. I have guys from work that, they're in different leagues, and they'll ask me, oh, what Eagles should I draft? And I'm like, honestly, I mean, I'll draft A.J. Brown if he falls. I'm not going to draft him, early second round, because I don't know. Because Jalen Hurts is the only, the quarterback is holding him back, basically. And I feel the same way about Miles Sanders. I have zero faith in his ability to stay healthy. If you told me for certain Miles Sanders was going to play every game this year and no injuries other than a little knick-knack, miss a play here and there, was going to miss no games, yeah, he's going for 1,500, 1,600 yards on our offensive line, but he won't stay healthy. And I don't know if it's an actual health thing or if it's a drive or a will to play. Or, I mean, we've all played with guys like that where every little knick-knack injury, they're just, I don't want to say soft, but in a sense, it's kind of that way. But it's a brutal position. I get it. That's what it is. So I don't know if it's actual injury-prone stuff or if it's a mental thing, where he thinks or he tells people injuries are worse than they are or what. But I love Trey Sermon coming in. It gives us a versatile back that has a little bit of size. Because I love Kenneth Gainwell. I think the guy can play phenomenal. I think he's going to do a lot in the punt return, kick return game. But I don't see him being a between the tackles 3-down back. And I think Trey Sermon will bring that. And when Miles Sanders inevitably, pulls his hamstring or tweaks an ankle and misses 6 weeks, Trey Sermon, I think, will be there because Boston Scott's not an every down back, and neither is Kenny G. So I like it. I think my bold prediction, unless it's a character thing, would be Trey Sermon's our RB1/RB2 with Kenny G by the end of the year. I mean,
by the end of the year.
Yeah. Miles Sanders won't stay healthy. I'll bet my year's salary that Miles Sanders does not play every game this year.
How about
yeah,
I'm just joking.
The older one. But no, I mean, we have Kennedy Brooks, and I also think it's a chemistry thing with Trey Sermon. Trey Sermon played at Oklahoma with who? Jalen Hurts. I think it's a lot of people think that maybe he had pull and getting. I mean, how many players do we have on our team right now that played with Jalen Hurts? We got Kennedy Brooks, Kyle Alcantara, Trey Sermon, I think we've seen it before where they get this rookie quarterback and then they go the next year or the year after and they draft, a guy that they had.
Devontae Smith, Landon Dickerson, AJ Brown. They didn't play, but they were friends. A lot of players linked to him.
Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase. It's a thing. If you have a guy, and not even even if you're not even talking about like chemistry on the field, chemistry off the field is huge.
Tua, Jalen Waddle.
Yeah, it's a big thing. It's happening more and more, and I love the idea of, even if Trey Sermon, let's say he doesn't play great, he's on the team. It's another guy in the locker room that Jalen Hurts likes. He has chemistry with, he has a pass with, and it's the thing to kind of boost, morale. When it's like if you're the new kid in school, or you're not even a new kid, you're going into the next grade. Like my daughter just went into second grade, and she was all worried about her friends being in the opposite class. And as soon as we saw the list and her two best friends are in the class, morale's up. It's gonna be a great school year. All my friends are here. That's the way I look at it. So I love it, and I'll stick with that bold prediction that Trey Sermon is RB1, RB2 ish. Because I think we're gonna be committee regardless. But I think he'll split carries with Gainwell and Scott, and Miles Sanders will be inevitably on the bike working out a hamstring.
Couple things. So I think, number one, it's a contract year for Miles Sanders, so maybe we see a little bit more grit, a little bit more toughness. I think he's so explosive. I really loved him coming out of college and thought he was a great opportunity because he sat behind Saquon. He was a 5-star, number 1 overall running back prospect. Miles Sanders was out of high school. So he's good. I like him, but there's just so many running backs you can find. We're not going to pay Miles Sanders unless he takes a team-friendly deal, which he probably won't.
Right.
He could probably get paid. Boston Scott, I think, is awesome. We signed him off of waivers from the Saints to stay with the team. Kenny Gainwell, I like him. I do. I like him too. I think he's going to be a really good player. What I think about Sermon, I like him because he's different. I don't think he's a power back. I have heard other people say this. Jordan Howard is a power back. Trey Sermon is just a big back. I don't think he's necessarily a power guy. He's more rounded than that. He's not even really a power guy at all. I did see him. I went back and watched his highlights. He did lower his shoulder. He did run some guys over from time to time. But
if you're a between the tackle, if you're a well-rounded back, you go between the tackles. I used to remember Darren Sproles going through and he wasn't looking for contact, but he would go through the tackles and he would just fly. That's all I want. I want you to just go forward. I don't want the dancing, because the NFL is too fast and it's getting faster. So the whole dancing thing, the Reggie Bush, LaShawn McCoy stuff, it can happen, but I just want patience. That's one reason I love Kenny G is when you see him take, just a halfback dive, he hits the line damn near at full speed. Whereas Miles Sanders will get it and kind of hesitate and try to do his best impersonation of the Le'Veon Bell, in his prime. And I don't think it's working as much anymore. Not that it won't work ever, but I just want you to go downhill. I want a downhill back, and I think Trey Sermon gives us that. I just hope he gets the opportunity behind our line. That's my prediction. And I'm not a hater on Miles Sanders. I love his ability. We know he can play when he's healthy, but he's never healthy. Yeah. So it's just every year we're like, yeah, he's at a great camp. And I remember sitting at work and I saw breaking news, and I think he's back. He's back now in practice, but it said Miles Sanders tweaks hamstring. I'm like, here we go.
Yeah.
He's going to miss 1. He's going to miss week 2, and then he'll be back 3. And
so I
frustrating.
Think with Sermon, here's the things I really like about him. At Ohio State, he really came on hardcore, similar to some ways, Ezekiel Elliott came on late. And I mean, Zeke was always good, but he came on in the playoff run. He went 200 yards versus Bama, 200 yards versus Oregon. Looked dominant. Trey Sermon did some of this too. He came on late. He had 340 yards rushing versus Northwestern. He has very good contact balance. So does Kenny G. Trey Sermon's got good contact balance. He's jumped over guys. He's got some pretty good lateral quickness. He is a bigger body, so he can lower his shoulder. And it looks like he can catch the ball pretty well out of the backfield. And then the final thing I'll say, dude's 23 years old, so we still have him on a rookie deal. He was drafted in the 3rd round last year. And in this era, any running back that gets drafted in the top 3 rounds has talent. Unless a team totally blows it, like very seldom do running backs go in the 1st. So running backs, I mean, 2nd, 3rd round running backs are like top tier talent. I don't see him being like, I hope he is, but I don't see him being super valuable this year. But like next year, I think Sanders won't be here. And then it could be Kenny G and Trey Sermon. And Trey Sermon's got the potential to be a number 1 running back. That's why he was drafted in the 3rd round. So we'll see. I hope he contributes.
I mean, I think he will. And again, it's all about to health. But how many teams can you name that run one back that's like a bell cow? There's not a lot. I mean, we got Derrick Henry. It's looking like, I was going to say maybe Josh Jacobs gets a bulk of the carries, but it looks like this year he's not going to. That's what it's leaning towards. Zeke is losing a ton of touches. He was outperformed. And that's one thing. So Miles Sanders has never topped 1,000 yards in his career because of health. He's never playing. Zeke last year was considered to be a down year, and he ran for, I think, like 1,100, 1,200 yards. And that's frustrating because it's a down year. And we saw Zeke. He wasn't great last year. You know, he was outperformed yards per carry by Tony Pollard, and I think it's going to happen again. And I think Tony Pollard is going to be a big player, slot receiver type thing because they need help. But it's frustrating because we have an on par this year better offensive line. Every year that Zeke's been there, our line's been just as good or right around the same level. And we can't get 1,000 yards out of Miles Sanders because he can't stay on the field. So it's frustrating, and that's kind of why I think Trey Sermon, if given the opportunity, will be the guy because he is big enough to go between the tackles and take some abuse, and hopefully stay healthy. And we're paying nothing for him. It's on a rookie deal, so I like it. I don't know. I mean,
anytime you buy low, this guy's got a lot of talent. I think it's weird that I guess we were like 18th or 19th on the waiver wire. Nobody else signed Trey Sermon. I don't know. Maybe because it's late in the year and a lot of teams are filled out at the running back position. We only have 3.
I mean, there's a lot of running back depth, and we've talked about it before. Like, you don't need to go out and get this stud and pay a bunch of money to get 1,000 yards or 1,200 yards because there's a bunch of guys that can do it. In this day and age, they're loading, you load up on receivers. It's a pass-heavy league, so teams are running nickel formations majority of the time. You can run the ball a little bit easier because they're going small. I mean, the only teams you see load the box against is, if you're playing the Titans because Tannehill can't throw. Now he has no receivers, and he's just handing it off to Derrick Henry 65 times a game. And still no one stops it, but
yeah, that's a really good point. Last thing I want to talk about, off topic. Have you watched like some preseason highlights? Have you seen any of Malik Willis highlights from the preseason?
I've seen some stuff. It's funny, he had a pretty good performance, and they talked to Vrabel after the game. Did you see that interview? And they're like, Malik Willis looked really good, looked real mobile out there, and he was like, yeah. Like, so why'd you pull him? So Vrabel benched him after he ran for like, I don't know, a 22-yard touchdown, spun off a guy, stiff-armed a guy. He's like, because he ran. He's like, I want him to throw the ball. He's our quarterback. He can throw the ball. I want him to throw the ball. So he benched him in preseason because he ran for a 22-yard touchdown. Like
I saw he had like a 50 or 60-yard run. Dude, talent. And he was in the 3rd round, right?
Yeah, he was a guy. Well, he was talked about as like first, maybe a 2nd round. I don't know, 2nd or 3rd round, but he was talked about as like
it was 3rd round.
It was fun, and I was like, all right, this is gonna be another not the same, but same style, but like Kyler Murray, how we predicted beginning of the year before anyone, we were like, Kyler Murray is going to be top 5 pick, if not the top pick overall. He's going to fly up boards because of his athleticism. And we said the same thing about Zach Wilson, like these guys that are doing this crazy, improv spin out of the pocket and throw the sidearm 40-yard dime like across the field. It gives you versatility, which I don't know. I like Malik Willis, but we know what variable is. He's very old school. He just wants a 260-pound running back to just run it down your throat all game, and they're not going to be able to do that this year. But their line's worse. They have no receivers. But I don't know, man. I'm very, very excited, but that's I gave a bold prediction. So before we go, I need a bold prediction from you on the Eagles this year. It can be anything, record or a depth chart battle or whatever.
Well, the two things pop in my mind. Number one is Kenny Gainwell emerges as the number 1 back by the end of the year. But the first thing that pops in my head is Jalen Hurts throws 30 touchdowns. He threw 16 last year, so I'll go with that. Jalen Hurts throws 30 touchdowns this year. I was listening to a Seth Joyner interview today, and the benchmarks we really need to see from him, like touchdown to turnover ratio 5-1, right? So if he throws 30 touchdowns, he can throw 6 interceptions. Third down conversions needs to be there. Like, I believe in Jalen Hurts, man. I believe in the mentality and the character, the personality, and he's got so much athleticism, man. If he can I just hope he can deliver the ball on time. I hope these receivers help. They're going to be open. That we know that they're going to be open. So
that's going to be a big thing, is pulling the trigger. You have to pull the trigger when these guys are open. You have to throw with anticipation. You can't wait. And he did that a lot last year. He hesitated and then he relied on his legs to save him. But, everyone knows the first year of a mobile quarterback is his best year running wise, usually, because then everyone knows what he's doing the second year. They're going to spy him. They're not going to let him do that. They're going to make him, same thing they did with Lamar. And Lamar is a way better runner than Hurts. So, yeah. It's going to be interesting, man.
Jalen Hurts throws 30 touchdowns. Any final thoughts?
No, just excited, man. I'm excited to watch final real football today. Ohio State. There's a couple I think there's another big game on 3:30.
Georgia and somebody.
Yeah, Georgia. It's another ranked game. But yeah, excited to have real football back, and
I'm scouting for next year.
Yep. CJ Stroud. We'll see, man. Jackson Smith and Jigba.
Yeah, that's the last thing I'll say. Jackson Smith and Jigba, number 11 on Ohio State. Dude.
Yeah. Well,
you don't know who this kid is. He's astounding. And the Ohio State wide receivers are astounding. We got so much talent. It's unbelievable.
Well, he was arguing
should be a top 10 pick easily. He reminds me of like a Odell Beckham, Devontae Smith. He's a route runner. The last thing I'll say, this guy can run like full speed and cut on the field. Like he'll be running a route like 90% speed, catch a pass. And some guys are straight line, like they can run fast, but he can run fast and cut while he's already moving fast. He doesn't slow down. He doesn't decelerate. His hands are incredible. I guess he's a savvy receiver, like route runner. He's the leading candidate for the Bolitnikoff Award. Think about that, dude. CJ Stroud, Travion Henderson, and Njigba. Not even mentioning the other number 1 wide receiver we have, and then Marvin Harrison's son, and then it just goes on and on. So unbelievable. I'm excited to see them. I think they should clobber Notre Dame.
Yeah, Notre Dame's always overrated.
So, all right, guys. Well, hey, thanks for tuning in. This one's went a little longer than we expected, but obviously we're really excited. Lots of great things to talk about. Howie has been masterful. Let us know what you think about our thoughts and opinions. What do you think about the Eagles? What they've done? It's going to be an amazing year to watch. A lot of young pieces. Really excited, man. I'm really excited. So please subscribe, like, hit that bell icon so you get notified, and we'll see you in our next episode.